A time to take stock on what we need to do. What we need to do. Revolution. Come, little children, I'll take thee away into the land of enchantment. Come, little children, come and play. Partisans into enchantment. You know the thing.
When you think of the future, you likely envision the remarkable technologies that you've seen in comic books and films. You may begin to picture flying cars, trains driven by electromagnets, or household robots that will see to your every need. While modern scientists agree that many of these inventions are either unlikely or unnecessary, it may surprise you to learn what the future could actually hold. Imagine being able to share your thoughts with millions of people at once, simply by typing them on a keyboard and sending them through the air. Think of what life will be like when all of the many fixtures of an office, including a typewriter and an entire Rolodex, can fit within a device smaller than a loaf of bread. Consider the vacation plans you could make when a single trip on an airplane is all that's needed to visit anywhere on Earth. Yes, the future certainly looks bright, but it isn't without its darker sides. According to some predictions, obesity will likely run rampant, and political corruption will become so commonplace as to be accepted. People with nothing entertaining or informative to say will broadcast their demands for attention, and once beloved performers will become pushers of snake oil. Perhaps worst of all will be the emergence of a deadly and potentially devastating disease. Think of the last time that you contracted influenza. You were likely bedridden for days, having no appetite or desire to play games. Experts predict that by the year 2020, a new virus will rise, spreading from somewhere in Asia to the rest of the world. And with international travel being available to even the most common citizen, a sickness which would have been contained in years past will quickly spread to all corners of the globe. Worse still, the fantastic technologies of the era, the instantaneous communication and the ability to spread misinformation will cause undue panic and unrest. While you may think that we have decades to prepare, the frightening truth is that we have already become susceptible to the spread of this upcoming pandemic. The people preparing our food will do so without washing their hands, and the declining standards for common hygiene will cause the release of marauding clouds of infection. Even today, children would prefer to attempt the carefree murder of their playmates rather than lecture one another about covering their mouths when they cough. So how do we reverse this trend? How do we avoid the coming catastrophe? Many doctors would suggest that we simply need to learn and practice better health habits, but that may not be enough. As it turns out, there is a solution. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Well, no wonder my laundry bill is so high. All those napkins last week.
Doeskin.
What?
You should use Doeskin dinner napkins.
Paper napkins? Oh, no.
I don't mean thin little paper napkins, but Doeskin dinner napkins. You'll love them.
Everybody loves Doeskin dinner napkins. These soft linen-like napkins are 2-ply in smart formal fold, in white and in beautiful pastel colors. And Doeskin dinner napkins are big. They cover your whole lap, and they stay put. What's more, they last throughout the meal, and they leave no lint.
But they are nice. And they would save my linen.
They save you money, too. Doeskin dinner napkins cost only 49 cents for 5 dozen. That's a fraction of a penny apiece.
All right, Dottie.
You'll find Doeskin dinner napkins, Doeskin facial tissues, and other Doeskin products at your favorite grocery, supermarket, department store, or drugstore. Look for the brown dispenser box.
Doeskin.
And now, the answer about how to avoid the deadly virus set to sweep the world.
move forced McConnell to ask the Senate to pass a formal motion to proceed on the defense bill, which would let Republicans move forward on the Pentagon priority without a vote on the $2,000 checks. Now, what ended up happening? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But first, I think it's important for you guys to see the argument that Bernie Sanders was making on the Senate floor yesterday, and he did so using Donald Trump's tweet. Let's watch.
So even on this issue, amazingly enough, the President of the United States is right. So what all of this comes down to, my fellow Americans, is not even whether you agree with Senator Schumer and myself and 78% of the American people, or you agree with Senator McConnell, and I suspect Senator Toomey, that's fine. It's called democracy. We have differences of opinion. All that I am asking is give us a vote. What's the problem? Allow the United States senators to cast a vote as to whether or not they are for the $2,000 check or whether they're against it. We will need, as I understand it, 60 votes to win. That's a big hurdle. I don't know that we're going to win. There are a number of Republicans, to their credit, who have said they're ready to vote for it. I suspect there may be more, when given the opportunity, who will vote for it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we will lose. I think that would be unfortunate. But all that I am asking for right now is give us the opportunity to vote. What is the problem with that?
So there's Bernie Sanders fighting for a vote on the direct relief checks to Americans. And as the Daily Poster continues to write, as Republicans saber rattled about the need to pass the defense bill, 41, that's right, 41 Democrats obediently voted with McConnell, allowing him to move the defense bill forward without a vote on the checks. That includes yes votes from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who claimed that he was going to fight for those direct checks, by the way, and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who just earlier was promoting the direct checks to Americans. But Cenk, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because there was a lot of talk coming from Democratic lawmakers, especially Democratic leadership like Chuck Schumer, and they didn't deliver.
Yeah, so this is a near perfect case of how politics works in America. So I really need you to understand this and absorb it. So Sirota did a brilliant job in pointing it out, and everything in there is absolute fact. It's inarguable by anyone in the mainstream media, yet of course they either are silent or part of this plot, as we'll explain later in the program. So first thing you have to understand is what Bernie Sanders is doing is saying the defense bill you're all saying is a must pass. I can block it. In fact, if others join me, we can block it together until we get a standalone vote. Now, McConnell's plan is to not have you vote on the $2,000 check by itself. He wants to include provisions that he knows Democrats and Republicans are against, so it has no chance of passing. So Bernie Sanders says, no, give it to me by itself. Now, Democratic leaders pretend that they're in favor of voting on this by itself. Now, if they block the defense bill, not permanently, but for some time until they got that vote, they could actually get the vote. That's it. They could definitely get a standalone vote on $2,000 checks if they block the defense bill. And this is amazing. 5 Republicans voted with Bernie Sanders. So with the 5 Republicans, they can definitely block the defense bill until they get a standalone vote. And Democrats, knowing that they could win, surrender. Because, as I told you throughout the week, the Democratic leadership does not actually want to pass the $2,000 checks. In fact, I had a slight disagreement with David Dayen from the American Prospect about this. He's a great reporter, and he just said, look, I'm looking at the facts, and Pelosi passed it, and Schumer and Durbin say they're for it. And so far, they've fought in some ways. Now, to be fair to David, don't get me wrong, they had not yet done this vote. So now with this vote, it's absolutely confirmed. No, Chuck Schumer, Dick Durbin, and certainly all the corporate Democrats in the Senate, which is almost all of them, 41 of them, all did not actually want you to get the $2,000 checks, because they actually had, this is not symbolic. It's not we're yelling and screaming for no purpose. No, they could have actually blocked the vote or forced the vote, if you will, to actually get the $2,000 checks.
So there they were, the Democrats, right up in the Senate, trying to get y'all's $2,000 stimulus bills, y'all's checks. Cut those checks, eh? I mean, because the House passed it real fast, didn't they? That wasn't a virtue signal. That wasn't Nancy Pelosi trying to one-up Trump. No, not at all. I mean, what happened? See, guys, that's what I'm trying to say. The Democrats are corrupt beyond all imagination. Both these parties are poison. They're poison in our water. They're poison in our oceans. They're poison in our lands. They're poison in our pocketbooks. They're poison to our freedom, our life, our liberty, and our pursuits of happiness. They're fucking poison. Why do you keep taking the poison? I know what it's like, guys, to have addictions. I know what it's like to smoke cigarettes, even though you know they're bad for you. The Democrats are cigarettes. The Republicans are cigarettes. They're a bad habit. We need to break it. That's what Tommy Nation Politics is here for. Tommy Nation Politics is all about that shit. So while Bernie Sanders, like I told you guys, I already told you, I called this already. I already called it before any of this happened. While Bernie Sanders was securing checks, yelling at people in the Senate that don't listen to him anyway, Chuck Schumer, his friend, his wonderful progressive friend, and Joe Biden's too. You know the thing. Look here, buddy. Now, at least Bernie Sanders, even though I believe his methods are outdated, simplistic, in vain, at least he is genuine. He's a genuine guy who really wants to help the American people. Is Nancy Pelosi? No. Nancy Pelosi's not. Everyone can tell. This is why she got her house fucking vandalized. Did y'all hear about that on TMZ? Yeah. Someone drew a pig, had a pig there, some blood. And yeah, everyone can see right through this charade now. Everyone can. While Bernie Sanders was trying to secure those checks, basically, you had Chuck Schumer, who's a Democrat. Bernie's not even a Democrat. Bernie isn't even a Democrat. Chuck Schumer's the Democrat. He was telling everybody how much he was going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep fighting for you. You know the thing. I'm going to keep fighting for you. Moments later, on the C-SPAN network, Chucky the Chuck Schumer, decided to surrender. The House Minority Leader. You know what leader's supposed to do? Leader's supposed to whip the vote. Whip the vote. If you're not a leader, then you get leverage and you use leverage. 2 ways to do politics. It's real easy. Learning it Political Science 101, my government class. You either, if you are a leader, guess what? You whip the vote. You get the vote. You want something, you get the vote. You use your bully pulpit to push it. Pressure. If you are not a leader, you use your leverage, what you have, to get what you want. If you don't do either of those things, you know what you are? You're a fucking cuck. So I gave up on the Democrats a long time ago, guys. But now I hope you all can see that the Democrats are nothing but a useless waste of space. Voting for Joe Biden was an inconvenient trip that I would never take. And I would never fund the DNC. Never! Never! But it's okay. Because still I rise, guys. Still I rise. And we were reborn in the image of intellectualism, realism, transcendentalism. Y'all know what that is? Beauty, truth. You know, the things that are valuable, really. Not the currency of our country. That's all backed up by the military. That's why they had to pass that spending bill. But this has really caused me to, and Paula, get ready, because basically this has really caused me to explore new opportunities. So we had Ellie Spawn on the show for she's part of the National Progressive Party, and she's good. She's not feeling very well, so she sent some of her friends to soldier on in her place. I'm glad, because I really need the progressive power today, guys. We're fighting neoliberal warfare, spiritual and physical. So without further ado, I just want to welcome to the show Paula Cahill. She's a New York organizer. She's part of the oops, where'd she go? Paula, where'd you go? I'm sure she'll be back. Oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. I can't control it. I didn't kick you off, I promise. I swear to God. I swear to Jesus. Latter-day Saints. All those things. But anyway, like I was saying my point while she comes back on. Basically, there she is. I didn't even have to stall. I love this lady. How's it going, Paula?
Good. How are you? I'm back.
Good. Yeah, are you in a barn? Is that why you have such bad reception?
I actually came home from the barn to be at my house where hopefully there would be better reception.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm starting to see you better now. You were blurred for a second.
Great.
Good. Well, I know Ellie Spawn, and you're the New York organizer of the National Progressive Party.
Yes, I am.
So what does that entail?
Well, we try to move progressive policies forward in New York. I personally am a member of the NPP, but not all of our members are. But right now in New York, since we have a supermajority, we are working on pushing forward ranked choice voting, which
Excellent.
A surprising number of people know nothing about. And we're also working on a New York version of Medicare for All. And we now think that we have the votes, and the governor has indicated that he will sign legislation. We're just working out the legislative part, because the bill they actually will vote on was written years ago. And my personal thought is that it needs to be rewritten and updated before it's voted upon.
Why is that? Why does it need to be rewritten?
There are several pieces of the bill. There's one in particular. The bill in New York says that in order to pass Medicare for All, that they want to do it in two parts. They want to vote to have a study, and then after the study is done, then they want to vote on actual Medicare for All. I think the study's been done over and over by numerous people. We need to get rid of that wording.
Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh. She'll be back. So studies. Democrats love studies. They like to take the consensus, the subsidies of the government, and then they like to fuck you over in the end. Like I always say, guys. You there? Sorry. What were you saying? Go ahead. All right. You were saying about the study. I was talking about the studies. Government Democrats, they love to have studies, then they get the hindsight and the government committee, and then they fuck you over in the end. It's awesome. Then they rig the primaries and do podesta emails. It's amazing. Then they do Pied Piper strategies.
They did that with fracking here in New York. The study went on and on and on and on, and then finally the governor, signed the legislation. But it was in study for years and years, which is insane. Yes,
I mean longer than the coronavirus studies. I know, I'm sure. So, I hear. By the way, so now I have a few things because New York. Now that is a cesspool of Democratic activity. So Andrew Yang, he's running for governor there. You supporting that? What do you think?
You know what? I don't know yet. I don't support Governor Cuomo. I mean,
I know for sure. He's a douchebag. I don't know who's worse, his brother or him.
He always says the right things coming toward an election, and then he doesn't follow through. And we have to rely on our representatives here to push legislation, and that's what the NPP is doing right now. We are talking to representatives, we're talking to state senators, we're saying, look, we have your back here if you want to do this. And there's been enough outcry to the governor that he's now agreed, okay, I'll sign that. I just want to make sure he's signing the correct legislation.
Yeah. How do you make sure that? How do you make sure that?
I think that we have to keep the pressure on. I think it has to be constant, and it has to be vocal. We did a lot with fracking when we showed up in Albany and protested at the state capitol. I think that we need to be doing that same sort of thing now with
I mean, have you been familiar? Are you familiar with Jimmy Dore's Force the Vote, by the way?
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yes.
What do you think about that idea? What do you think about that?
I agree with the Force the Vote. My whole focus is on grassroots stuff. I think we need to start down lower. We need to set up a system for progressive policies and progressive candidates. Until we have that grassroots foundation, nothing is really going to get done. That's why I said with ranked choice voting, I was shocked how few people actually knew what it was. So we've got a lot of work to do educating people as to what they're voting on, because they have no idea in most cases.
Well, I mean, this whole thing is done by trickery and mirrors and illusions.
Yes.
Which is why Chuck Schumer was telling everyone that he was going to fight for us. And then moments later, he surrendered. And the Democrats had so many avenues. That's what I'm talking about, is that how do you make sure they're actually writing the right legislation? Because they have so many avenues in which they can trick and elude you. It's just so crazy. While Bernie Sanders is on the floor trying to fight for us, you got Chuck Schumer who's patting him on the back and twisting the knife in as well. It's just so crazy. This is why both the parties are horrible. Democrats pretend so hard that they really make people believe them. That's what bothers me. The Democrats bother me because they're actually believably liars, and I hate it.
Well, I think that we also have to be careful of progressive groups, because if you look at the resumes and LinkedIn profiles of some of the founders of these new progressive groups, there are a lot of Clinton and Obama people, the same people that sandbagged Bernie Sanders. So why would I be joining a group that is founded by those same people doing those same things? I don't trust them at all. And
you shouldn't. Yeah. No, if someone named David Brock comes up to you, please don't. If David Brock or Neera Tanden, someone named Neera Tanden ever walks up to you, please don't. But yeah, seriously. Well, that's really cool. So you're good right now is the Medicare for All push. That's the Medicare, which is appropriate.
Medicare for All, and it's the ranked choice voting. We're
in the middle of a pandemic, so those are good.
Things.
Yeah, those are good.
I mean, we've got to get more progressive candidates in place. And if we want to have a third viable, strong party, then we need to make it an option to vote for those people, so that people don't say, oh, I'm throwing away my vote if I vote for that third party. No, in ranked choice voting, your vote would count. Your voice would count. So we need to get that legislation passed. It's been working wonderfully well in other states, and it needs to come to the great state of New York.
Paula Cahill, thanks for joining me today. And please come back to Tommy Nation. Come back to Tommy Nation Politics anytime you want. You got an open invite, okay?
Wonderful. Thank you.
Arrivederci. So there you have it, guys. We're fighting the good fight. Still we rise. Still we rise, guys. You may write me down in history, guys. You may with bitterness and lies. But still, like a goddamn motherfucking flower. Still I rise. And that's what we have to do, guys. We have to rise from the ashes. We must. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer. The bullshit from the Democratic and Republican parties. Only time can tell, guys. But I know I'm not going to take no more of this shit. Are y'all really going to take more of this shit? Because I can't take any more of this shit. Literally twisting the knife in while they're fucking on C-SPAN do the exact opposite thing. Can I tell you something? I'm done with this shit. Now it's time for war. You want to talk about twisting some knives in? Nancy Pelosi? I don't advocate for what these motherfuckers did to your house. I'm sure you have 3 more, so don't worry about it. You'll be fine. But I don't advocate for them, but I can understand why they did it. I can understand why they think you're a pig, because you are. You said things like, there's 3 things. We represent them. We represent them. And you don't really represent shit, except for the banks, the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, and who else are your donors? Raytheon, Boeing? It's pretty much all there is. There's nothing else, guys. There's nothing else. So, later on in my show, you know, I have progressives on a lot because I'm a progressive. But I'm gonna have some libertarian. I'm gonna have Daniel Berman, libertarian. I'm gonna have him on as well. I'm gonna have Michael Burgess on as well. He's gonna profess and doctorate about to you, and we're gonna have some fun, guys. So don't worry about it. Don't y'all worry about a thing. Uncle Thomas got you. Uncle Thomas got you. He's gonna keep you from the tar baby. Trust me. Who the tar baby is, guys? You all see that story of Uncle Remus? The tar baby are the Democrats and the Republicans. We keep on calling them the necessary evils, lesser evils. They're both the same evil. What parties went to Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Libya, Yemen? What party started the drone strike program? What party started the bailouts in 2008? Both of the parties. There's no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. The only difference is the Democrats lie better. Mitch McConnell, he doesn't waste his time lying. He's too old. He's too tired to lie. I don't want to give you money, period. That's what he says. The Democrats will pass. They'll go through all of the trouble to pass something in the House of Representatives, only to not want it to pass anyway. Do you understand how they go? How far they go to lie? That's what bothers me the most about the Democrats. They will go so far. They will literally concoct a story. They'll buy one of those like event halls. Like, yeah, you want to marry me? They'll say, will you marry me? They'll buy an event hall. They'll plan the date. They'll fucking they'll buy the dress. They'll get everything going on, guys. But then all of a sudden you're there. All the guests are there. And they're like, you know what? I think I'm like coming down with something. I think I have like the flu. I don't know. I think I can do this today. Can we reschedule? That's the Democrats, guys. So at least the Republicans are they're like, we don't give a shit about you. We give a shit about big business. We give a shit about corporate liability. That's what we're trying to do. Corporate liability. We don't want people to sue our fucking donors. We don't want people to sue our corporations. We want corporate liability. Mitch McConnell, corporate liability. Corporate liability. That's all he wants. He says it. What does Nancy Pelosi want? We don't even fucking know. We have no idea, guys. She'll never tell us. You know how scary that is? That Nancy Pelosi has a hidden agenda, but she's such a lying, sneaky, sociopathic narcissist that we'll never know what she wants. We know what Mitch McConnell wants. We don't know what Nancy Pelosi wants. That's scary, right? That's scary. To me, that's the scariest part. Is the Democrats are such liars. They lie to themselves. Like, I feel like AOC at this point is lying to herself. She really thinks that we can't talking about forcing the vote. I mean, who just punished you right now? Who just punished you, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for even talking about force the vote? Wasn't it Nancy Pelosi? Did she not give you a committee assignment? So now what? Either we fucking fight or what? Either we genuflect and endorse Joseph Biden and get more neoliberal policies, or what? I'm on the or what side. Ted Cruz back to AOC. Alex 70H. Go into my comments, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Tommy Nation Politics. Alex, he's lively today. I'm with you a lot, what you have said since you joined the channel. Thanks, man. Well, it's just common sense. I speak it. It really is. These guys are our enemies, okay? If you haven't found out they're our enemies by now, I don't understand. Where have you been? For 9 months, or since March, they've been funneling the wealth to the 1%. That's all. That's it. Literally, that's it. That's all they've done. They've been robbing us transparently. That's it. So I don't understand why you guys haven't seen that. It took $2,000 checks and then to pretend that, and then Chuck Schumer to stab you in the back. You know what? It's crazy, Alex. Wow. Alex says his business has been shut down for 323 days. That's a shame. Look, I'm not a Republican. I don't believe in business or corporations. I think we should regulate them. I'm progressive. But this is a shame, okay? What gives the government the right to do this? That goes back to our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, guys. The government's wrecking that shit. So at this point, I'm with the Republicans. Maybe government is bad. If we're going to let them run rampant all over our lives and be fucking partisans, then government is bad. Okay, so as a progressive, my position is we have a government that works for all of us and not the few. But if you guys are going to be stupid morons and let the government run rampant over your fucking lives like this, goddamn, there's only one other option now. It's conservatism. It's real conservatism, not republicanism. Republicanism is we follow the wealth too. We just blatantly tell you we're following the wealth, and so you don't really pay attention. I want corporate liability. I'm a turtle. Yeah. So you live in Las Vegas. I have friends that live in Vegas. Oh, you know what? Vegas is one of the best places that to be. I was there for a week. Didn't get bored. Shout out to also Kevin Valentine. I'm not going to list your club, but he's the best. He's the best. And he has a comic channel. If you check out Calvin Valentine, Alex, he's the bomb. But anyway, guys, so yeah, nobody should like Republicans and Democrats. This is what I'm saying, guys. So holding your nose and voting for people, let's see where that got us. Where did that get us? Nowhere. Not forcing the vote has gotten us nowhere. It's only gotten us deeper and deeper into a government that knows that they can establish mandates on you and curb your free speech, censor you, and close down your business. That's it. That's all it's done. I was under the impression we were smart people. I thought we were the greatest country in the world. But if you guys are going to let the Democrats and Republicans run rampant like this, well, holy shit. Holy shit balls, guys. 27 trillion in debt. Holy motherfucking shit. Alex, you know what you're talking about, bro. I like you, bro. I hope you subscribe, followed, and share. Because you need to come on more, okay? I'm trying to build a coalition here. A coalition of not Democrats. Progressives, libertarians, conservatives, real conservatives. With this deficit, it doesn't exist. It's a made-up number. Some of the people are billionaires, own some of our debt. The Communist Party of China owns some of our debt. What does it mean, $27 trillion debt? Am I 27? Did I run up a $27 trillion bill at the gay bar right next to a Hard Rock Cafe, Alex? No, I didn't do that. Close to it. Not $27 trillion. So you know the thing. Look, buddy. Look here, fat. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. I didn't spend $27 trillion on that go-go boy. Anyway, so guys, we're gonna take a little break. When we come back, we're gonna be rested, reinvigorated. We're gonna come back hopefully with Daniel, the taxationist Steph Berman, the libertarian. He's gonna let y'all know about how much he probably hates the stimulus checks. I asked him about this. I was like, Daniel, because he ran for president last time. Daniel, taxationist Steph. He was like, he's a straight hardcore libertarian. But he's a nice guy, so I like listening to him. And he did not want, of course, any stimulus of any kind, because libertarians hate that shit. They do not like handouts, bailouts, any kind of outs. But same thing goes for the corporations too. So that's why I think they're fair, even though to me they're draconian. They're still fair. They're draconianly fair. All I have to say. But yeah, guys. So I got a letter from Joe Biden. Just want y'all to know. Here's what he says. Don't want to see?
Innovative and totally open-minded. Tommy Nation Politics.
Hey guys, this is Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? It's time to climb some mountains. It's time to ford some streams. Tommy Nation Politics.
Guys, the true progressive position is that it doesn't have to be a decision over who gets unemployment benefits and who gets a stimulus. We get the stimulus and we get unemployment benefits. It's not an either or. That is a false choice. That's what a progressive is. They say there's a third choice. There's a fourth choice. Just don't know.
Do you remember in Sunday school when your Sunday school teacher used to tell you that Jesus loved you? There was a God who was looking out for you, knew you before your mother's womb. He knew you. He knew your purpose. He gave you a purpose to fulfill in this life, a task to carry out. And until your task is carried out, you're not done. You have faith in that. You have faith that you're running a race and you're going to finish that fight when it's time. The coronavirus is nothing. It is irrelevant to his plan. If you believe in his plan. If you don't believe in his plan, How about this? Everybody who is talking about it is liars. The coronavirus is real, but never let a good crisis go to waste. That's literally a saying in our government. Don't ever let a good crisis go to waste. So after they milk everything for what it's worth, after they've funneled all the wealth to the 1%, after they've completed and destroyed dating our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, all the lights of 1,000 spotlights, all the lights that's still in the night sky, what will be enough? What will be the line that is crossed? What will be the line that is crossed that you will get up and take arms against the enemy? Hypothetically. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, until you find your dream. Combination ball. It must be.
And now, story time by Tommy Nation Politics.
Why, hello, little lord. Would you like to hear the story of the long night when mothers smothered their babies in their bosoms rather than see them go starving? I got a letter here. It's from Joseph Biden. Subject: our work isn't done yet, Thomas. Work? I worked for Joe Biden? I don't remember that. Thomas, I'm about to ask you for the very final time this year to make a $10 donation, contribution to the DNC ahead of tonight's deadline to help the Georgia runoffs and seats at every level. Not just special elections, but every level. But before I do that, not like you just did, Joe. You know the thing. You just asked me, Joe. Joseph, you just asked me. Right before you didn't ask me. Before I do that, what to say? Thank you. Thank me, huh? For what, Joe? I hate your guts. I don't know if you know that. Keep sending me emails. The emails. I found the emails. What we accomplished this year was nothing short of historic. We turned out an unprecedented number of voters. Defeated an incumbent president and put traditionally red states in play for Democrats. I am so proud of this team. I could not be more thankful for the trust you have placed in me to be your next president. Oh wow, I placed trust in him. I don't really trust anything he says. He's a liar. But Thomas, our battle for the soul of this nation is not over. No, it's not over. Not if you're president. If you're president, the battle for the soul of this nation will never be over. Because we are soulless, evil people. But Thomas, our battle for the soul of this nation is not over. John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are counting on our support. Yes, they are. $10 donations to the DNC. It's very important. Should not have said that, Harry. Should not have said that. Okay, I know there is nothing we cannot accomplish if we work together. Like Tiger Lily, Peter Pan. Like Humphrey Bogart and Gene Kelly. Listen, look, pundits thought flipping Georgia was a long shot. Look, buddy. Look, pundits. They thought flipping Georgia was a long shot. They counted it out just like they counted out our campaign. They thought I was in the basement all the time. I wasn't. I'm not even a human being. Me, Joe Biden, you know the thing. And what do they call that? The lizard people. That's what I am. Okay. Now we're on the brink of taking back the Senate. And after turning Georgia blue in the presidential election. Oh, he's a good one. He's a good little Joe Biden. He wrote this for Thomas. I I'm not kidding when I say we owe our success to you, Thomas. Wow, you see that? I didn't even do anything. I did not even. I will never, ever, 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 ever fucking fund the DNC. The Podesta emails. Email deleting. Tom Perez cuckold. The DNC. I will never fund them. No, bollocks. Bugger that. No, absolutely bugger. It's bugger. It's hogwash. I'm not kidding when I say we owe our success to you, Thomas. Someone stole my credit card. Folks chipped in whatever they could. I chipped in nothing. I'll never give you anything. You're trash. You're human. Joe, did you know you are human garbage, sir? So, you know you are beyond the pale of absolute human morals. You know you've done every sinister and disgusting thing on planet Earth. I find you not only distasteful, but I find you a disgusting ragamuffin. You're like Oliver Twist if Oliver Twist was a 77-year-old dementia-riddled old man. Oh, he's not kidding. He owes my success to me. I didn't know that by chain emailing me, DNC, you would literally owe your entire success to me. Am I good luck? Am I a rabbit's foot? No, who knew? Who knew? It's because they believed, like I do, that our best days lie ahead with the soul of this nation. In the prisons and the credit cards. Yes, Joe, we know what you believe. More prisons for Joe. More prisons for Joe. You know the thing. Okay, buddy. You're like dog-faced pony show you are. Chitty-chiroo. That's the letter I got from Joseph Biden. It's very, very polite and decorum-filled. It's got a lot of conventional wisdom and social norms. But you know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to wipe my ass with it. I'm going to wipe my buttock. That's what I think about Joe Biden and the DNC. And the conventional wisdom and the social norms and the blah, blah, blah. I'm really about one thing only. That's the truth. That's the rock-hard foundation of where Jesus built his church and where we built science to study hypotheses, and that's really the only place to build a foundation is on the truth. It's not really on prisons. It's not really on credit card companies or the Wall Streets or the banks, the military-industrial complex. It's not really going to Iraq for weapons of mass destruction. It's not in for any of that. That's the foundation of sand, Joe. Joe, you're the Sandman, Joe. Mr. Sandman. And I can only hope, Joe, that Kamala Harris pushes you down the stairs the first day of your presidency. I'm speaking, Mr. President. Oh no. Look at this.
Alright, guys. I'm gonna do it like Cher. Ready? Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded. Combination party. So yeah, guys, chain letters. I found the emails. I have another progressive guest with me, guys. This is because libertarians how they like to run late. Daniel, get your ass over here, Daniel. I don't care if you don't like police or firemen. We've got two of from the Yellow Vest actions. I know, guys. I didn't know there were Yellow Vests here. I thought there were Yellow Vests in France. But we have Jamie Sue Austin and Josh Haver with Yellow Vests here, right here. What's up, guys?
I hate to say it, we got an awful connection here. Having a hell of a time hearing you.
Yeah, we're only catching every word.
Really? Can you hear me now? No? Man, I thought Saturday was going to be a good day. Okay. Let's see, what should I do?
I don't even know if you can hear us at this point.
I can hear you fine. Yeah, do y'all just want to do your spiel about the Yellow Vests?
I'm hearing you. We're getting like just pieces of what you're saying.
Okay. Wow. Man. I wonder what's going on. Okay. Wow, they are getting a bad connection there. What about you guys? Can you all hear me fine? Alex, can you hear me? I come in peace. They do have a really bad connection. I think it's just them. Mine says green. Oh, uh-oh. Now mine says red too. What's going on, Ski? All right, guys. This is what I'm going to do. Take a little break here. See what's going on here. Guys, I'm experiencing some technical difficulties right now. But in the meantime, while I get this sorted out, because I'm not a math surgeon. I'm not a wizard like Gandalf. So I'm going to have to get my hands dirty here from experience. I'm going to have to get some coffee and maybe snort some cocaine. Who knows, guys? Can y'all hear me? Well, let me turn the music down. Can y'all hear me? Hello? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, good. Y'all take it from here if you like. Can y'all take it from here or no?
Sure. So yellow vest actions. Sure, that's fine. You want?
Okay.
Hear us? Okay.
Oh, I could always hear you. I don't know why, but mine's green and yours is red. I think it's. Where are you at right now? Where y'all at? What state? What state are y'all at?
Rural Arkansas, out in the middle.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, you're not. You're still in the South, just like me. It's just must because you're in the middle of nowhere, though. But, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Haber, Jamie Sue Austin, they're from the Yellow Vest Action.
Yeah, we're in a little town of about, I think we made 90 people when we got here. That's nice.
Yeah, so Yellow Vest Actions was it was basically found the idea that the people needed better representation, and they just haven't had any. So the whole purpose behind Yellow Vest Actions is to push the forward through forcing politicians into legislation that's helpful for the people. Some of the more dire needs, things care for all. Right now, some biggies. Are you still hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. So, the stimulus.
Yeah,
y'all happy?
Go ahead.
Y'all happy about what's transpiring? I'm sure not. Go ahead.
Well, the point, we need to stop stimulating the economy because that's some nebulous idea. We don't need.
It's the only way we get Republicans to say yes.
Spending for people.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear him.
It's the only way we can get Republicans to say yes is if we talk about the economy, because they don't give a shit about people. Republicans don't, and they openly, blatantly don't give a shit about people. Only corporate liability. So the only way we could get Republicans on board is if we talk about the economy, because they don't only care about the economy, not people. Go ahead.
Well, I think that goes for Democrats as well, too. Those who are in office, for the most part, that goes for Democrats, too. They're just as owned by large as Republicans for it. And it's absolutely destructive to the American people that people sitting in the tower are ruling from on high or actually taking over the country, have taken, and don't leave any scraps for anybody else.
Right.
That's, what is it, like 80% or better support M4A? Like that's the part support, like the people who make up that part support Medicare for all, and up happens. So it's a problem on both sides for sure.
It's a corruption. It's and it's legalized. It's legalized corruption. Legalized corruption. I like what you said about the.
Just as far back as things like the passage of Citizens United destructive.
Yeah, I mean, it was even before that though. I remember watching the History Channel. They were talking about Spiro Agnew, which was Richard Nixon's vice president. He did the Watergate mostly. And but before then there was Ulysses S. Grant, whose administration right after the Civil War, they took part in, there was the Reconstruction. They took part in enriching themselves during the Reconstruction. Ulysses S. Grant's administration. So the corruption's almost as long as our country. But it's just like, that's why I'm wondering, when are we going to stop? When are we going to get up and just have enough of it? It just seems like now's the time. They're transparently robbing us now. So
we're out.
Yeah, I know you are.
Well, so
like
Yellow Vest Actions was in Milwaukee Convention. That was a huge first step. Getting out there and getting the people's voices on the street. And that's what we're in Washington, D.C. Going into Washington, D.C. with the hand delivering White House specific. What we're going to do is make sure that demands are put in the hands of legislation in this country so that we have a recurring stimulus, recurring money to at least get through this pandemic, and more importantly, in the long run, have a healthy and functional society where things like medical isn't a worry any longer. It's homeless because there is no job. They need to be housed. There needs to be fundamental change. What we're going to do, the two specific demands. Medicare by March 1st to be enacted within 1 year, and a recurring $1,200 per resident and sick. Say it again.
You said Medicare for all is the first one. Medicare for all is the first one,
as well as a recurring $1,200 a month per citizen per resident stimulus relief payment.
Is that universal basic income
until such time as it's
What do you guys think about universal basic income?
I think it can be. I think it could be functional. I tend to support a guaranteed basic income than a universal basic income. It comes with a UBI, and a lot of people who are more for things like an understanding of monetary theory. I understand the reasons why a person is incapable or unable, needs to be at the very least a relief system whereby to live from day to day. That's all this country in the world. There's no reason we can't all live well. If those demands aren't met, February 1st, we need the recurring pay, and by March 1st, we need the passage of it. If it's met, then the general strike. We're calling on everybody to get together and say, no, we're not supporting you any longer if you fail us. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is what is going to happen.
So what do you think they're going to say to you? What do you think they're going to say?
I don't think they're going to say a damn thing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to function under the assumption that this isn't a threat.
Well, Obama Obama, when he was in 2008, he thought that the Occupy Wall Street protest was a real threat because he sent out people to bash their heads in. So that's what I was asking. Because he was getting violent with them. Obama
had my head bashed. I understand how that works, but it's not a deterrent any longer.
Yeah,
I can starve and bleed with their help or without it.
I mean, I like what you said about, let me see if I can read this. We are people in distress. If they will not hear us on the campaign trails, they will not hear us on the ballot boxes, if they will not hear us in their legislative halls, then they will hear us on the street. That's the truth.
I mean, at some point, it gets to that. We've forward as much as we can in our legislative process. We see on, especially in the Sanders, that was a very widely popular candidate, how it gets pushed aside. We are repeatedly given not what we asked for, but what they think is best for us. And at this, the people need basic things. They need healthcare. They need food. They need housing. If we're not being heard, there's no manner to go to the street. There's nowhere else to go with it.
So I agree. Well, Josh Haver, Jamie Sue Austin, thanks for fighting the good fight. And thanks for joining Tommy Nation Politics. I hope y'all come back and join us again, all right?
Thanks for having us.
I'm still in DC.
Yes, in DC? I thought you were in Arkansas. Hello?
January 20th, we'll be in DC. Bring a message.
Yeah, January 20th for the inauguration of Joseph Elizabeth Biden.
There's more information available at yellowvestactions.com or on Facebook.
All right, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Available at actions.com or the Facebook group Yellow Vest Actions for Our Lives. There's a large number of pages that have taken on the February 20th event as an event for themselves. So there's a large number of groups that are getting together to make this all heard in DC.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. And as always, be free thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded people. Tommy Nation Politics. So that was the Yellow Vest Action guys. Jamie Sue Austin, Josh Haver. Then we had Paula Cahill earlier. Now, just to deal with you, Hoser 48 Life, I do need a tissue, okay? Let me tell you something, sir. Making fun of me? Live streaming, okay? While the Mountain Cedar is at all-time highs. Hoser for life. Come on, man. You know the thing. Look here, buddy. Would you say that to Joe Biden? Would you say, is that a booger in dude's nose or a ring? Just pretend it's a ring, buddy. Pretend I'm a Democrat. Then it's a ring. Maybe there was boogers coming out of my nose. But guess what? At least I care about you guys. Nancy Pelosi doesn't. Chuck Schumer doesn't. Why don't you just go talk to them about the boogers and the rings, okay? Y'all are fighting the wrong battles, okay? These are the wrong battles, guys. My boogers, wrong battle. What about the funneling of wealth to the 1%? Y'all don't give a shit? I don't know, man. Weird. Kind of weird. That's all I have to say, and that's the reason why they're doing it, Hoser for Life. You're so busy concentrating on my boogers that you don't seem to see that the Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Mitch McConnell are literally transparently robbing us because you're so busy looking at my boogers. So think about that, Hoser for Life. Why don't you concentrate on the things that matter? Why don't you pick some battles? Just saying. But you don't see if you're on the chat, I recognize you. I will recognize every one of you. And if you're one-dimensional, I will destroy you. Just so you know. Because I'm an intellectual wizard. I'm like Ben Shapiro meets Alex Jones. Okay? Listen here, buddy. I'm a patriot, man. I got my own vitamins, man. Okay? You want to know what the boogers coming out? That's alpha boogers. That's what that is. So yeah, obviously. Yeah, guys, see? I can hold my own here. I might be a nice little princess sometimes. But on the other hand, I'm also House Targaryen. First of my name. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I'm fourth of my name. But King of the Andals. Rulers of the Children of the Forest. And the 7 kingdoms? Or is it 6 now? Because, like, literally, Highgarden. Remember, guys? I think High Garden's not going to be there anymore. And neither is King's Landing, honestly. King's Landing didn't go very well. Didn't go very well there, guys. But you know what? I'm just glad that the people in King's Landing got what was coming to them. Because they were the ones looking at boogers, right? They got Ned Stark had his head chopped off in Game of Thrones. They were laughing. Oh, yeah, this little boy King Joffrey, this incestual king. He's a shit. Ned Stark, the honest, true, honorous guy, bitch. So, I mean, from fiction to reality, everyone always concentrates on like the fucking glamour and glitz and doesn't concentrate on the substance. And that's, I guess, why the reason why we're the jams we're in now. Because we fucking can't concentrate on the shit that our interests. Sucks. Sucks the ass, man. Sucks the motherfucking ass. But I'm going to go blow my nose because Hoser for Life wants me to. And plus I should, okay? I'm going to let you know, Hoser for Life. That was a good idea. I'm going to do that. I'll be back in 5, guys. Joining me now, Dr. Michael Burgess.
Hey.
What's up? How's it going, Doc? Today it's a learning experience we were doing.
Yeah.
We're doing some learning experiences there. Today I learned that the mountain cedar so high that I needed to blow my nose. And they learned that
the what is what?
The mountain cedar, bro. Making my nose run all
I remember
day.
that shit in down in where are you in South Texas now, right? Still? Oh yeah.
I just graduated from UTSA. Finally.
Wait.
I did it. I did it.
So when you were dude, that was a long time. That was like, when was I there?
It was
14 years ago is when
Oh my God. Don't tell people. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead. Honestly, transparency. That's what I'm advocating for. So go ahead.
So you're just finishing. Look, man, I have 2 majors. It took me almost 10 years to finish my bachelor's degree. So don't worry about it.
Well, I had to pay for it myself. I didn't get any help.
And that's for real. Yeah. Trust me, dude. It's not so matter. There's no realistic way to get a degree done in 4 years anyways. That's a freaking stupid myth.
I mean, yeah. God only knows. Like the class load, I remember my freshman year, I had 15 hours, and with the lyric opera, and then I had to do concert choir, and then I had to do all kinds of stuff, and then that burned me out.
Music is crazy.
Yeah,
Petchke and I remember Petchke and I did like a revamp of the entire like music track curriculum for voice students.
Yeah,
and we realized quickly that with all those like extra cognates you got to take, right? Because it's music, right? You got to take, ear training and theory and be in choir and have ensemble, blah, 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 plus whatever else you're doing that you got to fill your core with. There was literally no way to complete it in 4 years. The best you could do is complete it in 4 years and a summer, and that's if you took some of your core courses from like the community. What's this community college down there? I forget what it is.
There's Vista, and then there's San Antonio College.
That one, yeah, the one downtown. Yeah, you had to take, and we sort of even recommended that. So I'm like, wow. And let me tell you what. I mean, I don't know if this is where we're going to go, but I've spent half my life in academia as either a student going through my doctoral degree or then as a professor. It was very disillusioning, man. I mean, I loved academia. I've been an academic kind of mind my whole life. I kind of love the environment or whatever, but it is a racket, dude. Oh my God. They don't care if you take 6 years or 7 years or 12 years because the federal government sends them money every year for you.
The federal government, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
federal student loan, like, yeah, here's the money.
Speaking of which, I'm on the phone with Daniel Taxation and Steph Berman. He was a libertarian candidate.
You're on the phone with him now?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to be a guest as well. He's about to come on.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Oh.
I know. See, I'm not afraid of other voices, guys. I'm not Joyanne Reed. Okay. I'm not saying Trump is just dancing around like COVID doesn't exist.
I did my New Year's not shave yet. I've just been sitting around doing nothing, so I look like a hobo. It's good.
I mean, that's fine.
Representing my
everybody's got their. Yeah, you're from Chicago, bro. It's cold out there, isn't it? Cold? Is it cold?
Yeah, it's snowing and it was raining yesterday. It's like
is it as cold? Is it as cold as Nancy Pelosi's icy heart? I don't know.
That's close. Well, funny though, I did an opera down in San Antonio in Russian with a teacher from University of Texas, Austin, Anya Gurkovsky, who runs the ensemble down there.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic place. We did this opera about Mozart and Salieri, just a 2-man opera by Rimsky-Korsakov, and Anya had me learning it in English, but then she gets like 2 months before the performance, just 2 months before the performance, she says, "Oh, I found a Salieri, but he only knows."
You found a Salieri? Was Salieri good? Was Salieri good?
As a composer?
As a composer, was he good?
Was he good? He was one of the most celebrated composers of his day, much more celebrated than Mozart, but no one remembers him. If you listen to if you get into some classical stations that get really into some of the classical nitty gritty, you'll hear some of his pieces. I mean, he had some good pieces. But But this guy, Nikita Storozhev, ends up being the Salieri, and we're doing it in Russian. And his handle was Siberian Base. I think that was email. And we're talking as we're doing rehearsals.
There he
like,
is.
so you're from Siberia? And he's like, yeah. I said, oh man, it's cold there. And he saw I was from Chicago. He's like, oh, it's much worse in Chicago. I went, what?
Chicago. Daniel, can you hear me? Daniel. Daniel.
Hey man, I can tell if what they see is what I'm seeing on your screen is what they see. Hey, so he said it's worse in Chicago because Chicago's by the lake. Like when it gets cold here, it's like wet cold.
Hello.
So it's like terrible cold. He's like, Chicago's much worse than Siberia. I was
Daniel,
like,
can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I've been having this problem with all the guests. Like, I guess, except for you, Doc Burgess. You're internet, but everybody else is. Where are you, bro? You're so libertarian, bro. You're on the roof, aren't you?
I'm hanging out at the beach.
So Daniel, he ran for president. He ran for president last go round.
You did not.
Yeah, for the Libertarian Party. I interviewed him.
Shut up.
You had some really interesting opinions, bro. As a progressive, I feel like you're kind of draconian on some things. Like you did not agree about the stimulus at all. But I'm just like, what else could we do? They shut the businesses down. But anyway, how do you feel now, Daniel? How do you feel now about everything?
About the stimulus?
How do you feel this is gone? This whole experiment, this whole social experiment.
Man, it's been a mess. Man, where do I begin? The information they've been giving us has been like terrible, all wrong. They're going into tyranny to shut everything down, shutting down businesses, making people go out of work, shutting down everybody's source of income, but not shutting down their expenses. So we're still being forced to pay property taxes, taxes on anything else we have. People are worried about making their rent, which of course their rent is made up of somewhere between 20 to 40% property tax if they're renting. Nobody has any savings, and that's been a long building problem over the course of, I don't know, the last 100 years. The FHA, which claims to make it easier for us to buy homes, has actually made it more difficult for us to own property and to start earning a savings or start building savings. It's been. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I work in real estate too. What policy makes it harder to buy a home? I missed what you said.
The FHA, which
FHA
seems
loan?
like
the FHA.
Yeah, the FHA loan program.
What's the FHA stand for? I don't even know
Fair
that.
Housing.
Fair Housing
Authority.
Anytime they put something like fair on something, the government does, not fair.
Yeah, if it's got if they have to tell you it's fair, it's probably not.
Describe what you think, because I mean, a lot of people use the FHA. I've used it myself.
Yeah, no, it's so here's what's interesting, right? It seems like, especially with housing costs as high as they are, 3% down payment is a good thing, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, like
6 or 20, yeah.
Yeah, like 20% of a $100,000 house, I can't afford that.
That's a chunk of change for sure.
Yeah, but here's the thing: before the FHA, the price of a house was much, much lower, and it really goes into this inflation thing that we saw, even in the 2008 housing crisis, where easy money means higher housing prices, which means everything goes up, which means more loans, more money, and everything else. And so before the FHA, the cost of a house was much lower, and a 60 or 40% down on a house before the FHA was actually less money than the 3% down on a house today. And the loans were only 5 or 10 years. So you're not subscribing to a lifetime of debt, because the average American gets their first home loan at 33, which, plus 30 years, you're talking 63. You finally get your first house paid off. And it's like, that's the average. That's nuts. And then you're paying property tax on it for the rest of your life with your Social Security check, probably.
Right.
I mean, at this point, can anyone even afford housing right now? We've got people on evictions.
I bought my house.
$600 is not enough to cover evictions.
No, that's
I'll tell you what. No, here's the because look, man. I have a real estate license. I've been working in real estate for 10 years. I went through foreclosure, so I understand what you're talking about. This house I'm in, right here in Calumet City, my brother and I were renting it from a friend of his. The rent was $1,000, which is way under market. We're on the south side of Chicago, south suburb. $1,000 a month for a 3-bedroom house. It's not big, but it's got a basement. It's not bad. The market rent would be about $1,200 or $1,300 a month. which would be about average. So we were under market. I don't have the credit to buy a house, and I'm just telling you that there are many more ways. This is where information helps, or knowing someone who knows a little bit about how to buy real estate in other ways than going to a bank. There's a lot of ways to buy a house where you don't have to go to a bank. I didn't go to a bank to buy this house. I have investor friends. I have an investor friend of mine who helped me pull up the cash. He instead of the 2.8%, I didn't get a 2.8% rate. He charged me 4%. But I used to have a mortgage for 6.25% and thought it was awesome. That was 20 years ago. So 4% to me was great. But here's what happened. With very little down payment, because he was putting up cash, I went from $1,000 a month in rent, and because I negotiated a good price on this place, I took it as is. My mortgage payment is now only $310 a month.
$310.
$310 per month.
That's cheaper than rent. That's cheaper than rent.
It's one third of the mortgage. Now he's right. The property taxes are high-ish, so that adds another $220 a month. So I'm still half of what the rent was.
Wait, so your total is like 5 something.
Correct.
So cut your half in rent and get rid of the property tax.
Pardon?
So if you could get rid of the property tax, you'd be cutting your rent in half.
Correct.
Look at you guys right-winging out here. Y'all are just right-winging out here. I love that.
You're anti-property tax. I'm very anti-income tax, but I'll listen.
Ooh, property taxes. Right.
Property taxes, they're outrageous. And here's where like inequity happens. It's a scam. It's a huge scam because I do real estate. I look up houses that people want to buy, and literally within the same subdivision or same block, you'll see similar houses. One house will have a property tax of say $3,200, like my house, and then you go 2 blocks over, a similar house has like a $4,500 property tax or $5,000 property tax. You're like, why?
Yeah.
Because
why?
Well, because property taxes are run by the county and like a local assessor, and they do property taxes after they've determined what their budget needs are. So once they determine how much they want to or need to spend, they go out and figure out how much tax revenue they raise, and the assessor will just tag houses for the property tax amounts that they need. So there's only, you'll see in your property tax sheet that it's loosely based on the assessment value of your house, but it's really sort of a formula they use
times some arbitrary number,
whatever money they want. And in most cases, there's people who make a living at this. Edward Doliak, one of our local like henchmen, mobster politician.
Doc Burgess, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't really care. I want to get to the other parts. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you, it's a racket. Property taxes is definitely a racket for sure.
It's a racket.
He's not wrong.
It sounds like a racket. It sounds like a racket if you pay a mortgage of like half what rent is, and then like you still have to pay property taxes on top of that.
One thing is you can buy a house.
That sounds like a racket.
And you can buy a house. You can buy a house in many ways than to go groveling to a bank with your credit score. I'm just
this is how bad the property tax is, though. Like, okay, so we know it's directly related to property, but it's related to everything else too. We talk about wages being too low. That's because of property tax.
Property tax. Okay.
That's because of property tax. Because think about it. Think about it. Let's say you were like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like having a job, right? What's the biggest bargaining chip you have in any negotiation? The ability to walk away. So you go to a job and they say, hey, we're going to pay you $1 an hour. Why don't you just say, no, it's too low. I'm going to walk away. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't, because you got to go home to a house, and if you want to keep that roof over your head, you got to pay the government in cash, right?
Right.
You can't homestead. You can't grow your own food. You can't collect your own rainwater. You can't build your own energy. You can't do any of that stuff because of the government. And fundamentally, because
I wanted to do my own rainwater. I did want to do that. Property tax.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. So how does the property tax contrast to me not having my own rainwater? I don't understand.
He's talking about government regulation. You can't just go.
Okay, so you're just thinking about government regulation.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, you can get away with collecting rainwater and all this other stuff, but if you don't have any land where the rain falls, where are you going to collect it? Well, ultimately, they're going to kick you out of your house.
You can't get a bucket outside your house. And
sometimes no. Sometimes they'll regulate.
Yeah, but you still got to pay. You still got to pay for the land. You still got to rent the land from the government to put the bucket outside.
Correct.
Interesting.
But then sometimes they'll tell you can't collect the rainwater. They'll regulate that too.
That too, yeah.
The homeowners association probably will tell Karens.
Sometimes cities do it too. I've seen cities. There was a friend of mine in New Orleans He got solar on his house, and so he disconnected his house from the power grid because he was producing enough energy. And they started fining him and threatening with lawsuits and jail and everything else because he disconnected from the electric grid, probably because they wanted to force him to sell his electricity back to the grid because they could get it cheaper than it cost them to make it. Nuts. It doesn't make any sense. But they just treat us like property. We're cows for them to milk.
Well, did y'all cows get any of the stimulus yet? Are y'all gonna get the checks?
I didn't, but I don't pay taxes. I don't qualify.
You don't pay taxes. How'd you work that out?
There's actually a little known secret. There's no law that says you have to pay taxes. Most people.
Right. He's right.
And then how do you? You're white, so maybe that's how you do it. How do you not?
So here's the thing. Well, no, actually. So I was just talking to one of the lawyers actually who represented Wesley Snipes in his whole case.
Oh, that worked out.
Yeah. Well, do you know how it worked out?
I mean, he went to prison for a long time, so I don't know.
No, he was in jail during the trial. He was acquitted of everything except for one misdemeanor failure to file.
Failure to file?
He was acquitted of everything else.
Some bureaucratic garbage. He was acquitted. He was founded on
failure to file. So how do you not pay taxes and not file?
Well, so here's the thing. With you want me to get real technical? I can point out the laws and everything.
Not really. That sounds boring.
Well, so basically it's like this. Here's the super short version. Section 7201 and Section 7203, if you want to go look it up, say it's a crime if you fail to file. If any person fails to file, but if you look up the definition of person for the purpose of that chapter, and in that same chapter it says a person is an officer of a corporation who's responsible for filing. So Wesley Snipes had 4 corporations that were part of his indictment, and those corporations were the reason he was even indicted. If you look at the John McAfee case, he's being indicted on the same stuff, but there's no corporation that's mentioned. So if he went and he fought those charges, they'd all be dismissed because there's no corporation.
I see.
It's not a crime for you to not file.
Interesting.
Yeah, withholding's a myth too. If you look up Section 3401 and 3402, basically it says your employer is supposed to withhold taxes, but if you look up the definition of an employer, it's a government agency.
Government agency?
Yeah. So if you don't work for a government agency, your employer, your boss, I shouldn't say employer, your boss, is not supposed to withhold taxes because he's not a government agency.
Gotcha. So right now, this moment, I don't think I got my answer about how you feel this social experiment's gone. Besides property taxes. Like
which part of the social experiment?
Shutting down of businesses. Shutting down businesses. Now Congress today Congress will take mandates up. They are taking it up right now as we speak. They're going to try to do some mandates because they think that we're dumb Americans. We can't do things ourselves. We can't keep our masks on our face. So they're going to try to put a mask on our face down. This is what's going to happen.
Everything they do is an experiment. They don't know the outcome of any of this stuff. Right. But it's when okay. So let's talk about the shutdowns. Right. You've got government executive orders. And police going around enforcing it as law. And I've seen, there was this one guy who was followed home by the police. 2 police told him 2 things. One police officer said you didn't break the law. The other officer said you did break the law because he wasn't wearing a mask. And there is no law that says you have to wear a mask. That's an executive order.
That's why Congress is taking it up.
So they're trying to pass a law now. But here's the thing: the executive orders don't have to be followed because we're not government property. We're not government employees. Like imagine you're sitting in a restaurant and the owner comes out and he says, "Everybody start cleaning dishes." Now, if you're an employee and you're in there, you better get in the back and start cleaning dishes. But if you're a guest and you're sitting there eating, you don't have to follow that order, right?
Right. I agree.
So that's what an executive order is. But when the news gets on TV and they start saying, "Oh, there's an executive order, everybody must start wearing masks," and then everybody who watches the news brainwashed says, "Oh my God, they say everybody must wear a mask or else, blah, 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 blah."
Just do it. Why are you causing problems? Why are you asking questions?
You're killing people. You're killing old people.
But they're following the rhetoric, but they also think it's law because the governor said so, which is total bullshit. And they're using this power, and this is extremely dangerous because the next time they come up with something that's even further into the depths of bullshit, people are going to follow it because they're conditioned now.
Like the curfews.
Yeah, exactly.
They told us all stay home. We were all like, okay.
I mean, it was fine. It was fine for me when I was in school and I was getting unemployment benefits enhanced, and all I had to do was concentrate on being a student. It was great. But now they won't even give us that. They won't even give us that. They literally want us to just stay at home, but they won't give us the means or anything. So that's the fucked up part now.
He's right. It's a conditioning mechanism. And is COVID is for real. I know people who have it. I know people, not anyone close to me so far, thank God. But I mean, there's people who it's killed or done, some damage to. Other people who didn't even know they had it, or are living with people who have it and don't get it. So, I'm like, it's a virus. It's like anything else in the freaking world. My problem is not with that there's a virus that's, may or may not have been foisted on us by a lab. Who knows?
You're right. What do you think conspiracies?
It's definitely being used as a tool of control by the government.
Oh yes. Don't ever let a good crisis go to waste. That's what they say. They say that.
I've been raising it since the beginning, and people are like, Michael, you're like, stay home, like it's always this either or. Like if you're against, or you're railing against, as you and I, Thomas, have been railing against these measures, you're like evil and you're trying to kill people. I'm like,
right, exactly. That's what they've done now. See, that's what the new fascism is. It's because they can't take your your rights because of the Constitution. Now it's you're hurting someone else. So that means that you are a danger to society.
Right. Now it's a crime. Now there's a victim.
Well, what's so stupid about
fucking angle it now.
What's so stupid about that, and my counter is, the measures have done more irreparable harm to more people than the virus ever has.
Yeah, they have.
Ever will.
It bankrupted businesses.
Worldwide.
People see their loved ones in hospitals.
Worldwide.
This is not fun. This is not cool.
The poverty rate has doubled since March. The poverty rate doubled. There were 6 or 7 million in poverty throughout the world, or even this country.
8 million. 8 million.
WHO said the poverty rate has doubled and said lockdowns. WHO said lockdowns are kind of a bad idea because nothing gets anywhere. So of course, people who are at the bottom part of the strata are going to start dying and starving because there's food, there's no grocery stores, nothing gets anywhere. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you totally shut everything down? I'm trying to figure out, because it's so blatant. I just try to figure out, what are they really, really trying to do? And then I
already told you what they're trying to do.
I hear words like the Great Reset. And I'm like, well, that's what they're doing.
They're trying to funnel the wealth to the 1%.
And you hear them saying, I hear articles or officials talking about there's going to be a new society in which you don't own anything and you're going to be really happy about it and happy with it.
Well, that sounds like communism.
Right.
I'm a progressive, but I'm not an advocate of that. Okay.
That's the whole that's the whole debt thing, right? Like that's we're all in debt, and this is really important too, because as I think the biggest lesson to learn from this is that when everybody has jobs and we're all making money and the stock market's going up, that is not the sign of a strong economy. That is a sign of a moving economy, because at the end of the day,
right? Bull economy.
A what?
There's a bull economy, right? Is that what the highs and lows?
Yeah. It's a bull, and eventually you're going to fall off the bull. But the thing is, it's moving. But what happens when it stops, right? What happens when you get injured and you can't go to work? What happens when there's a pandemic? What happens when there's anything? You have nothing to fall back on. You don't own any property. You don't have any savings, any of this stuff. You're just nothing but debt. And I think it's 88% of the country is in debt with an average of $60,000 per household. That's absolutely insane. But yet we're supposed to believe we have the best economy ever. No, we're all in debt. We're debt slaves. And whenever they do something like this, they tell us we can't go to work, we can't do this, we can't do that. They're just forcing us further and further and further into debt.
Well, when the top 0.1% bubble pops, probably this year, hopefully all the illusions about the wealth of this country and the funneling of it thereof is going to go to rest. And hopefully
somebody still owns it. I mean, that's the thing. We're all in debt, but somebody's going to come out and be like, "Oh yeah, I own a million houses over here."
One of them. China owns China owns a lot of stuff in this country. They're part of they're a huge part of the real estate market in this country, both commercial and residential.
So where can we go from here, Daniel? Where do we go from
here? We gotta start getting rid of taxes. We got to start giving property back to the people.
get rid of taxes at this point. I mean, but realistically, though, what can we do?
I mean, look, the government's going to collapse. The currency's already collapsing. I mean, it's going to happen. Whether it happens on accident, quote unquote on accident, or whether it happens because we actually understand that that's the way it's going to go and we got to fix it.
Right.
That's going to make the difference for a lot of people, and it could get ugly.
When you've got legitimate. I mean, it's been there since I lived there, Thomas. Like Texas has always been marginally part of the U.S. You consider yourselves Texans first, and many people consider that it was illegally annexed, and that Texas still is the Republic of Texas. There's a dang militia down there if there's a president, you elect a president of Texas, which is crazy. I'm like, holy cow, cool. This Texas thing is not a joke. It's not a joke.
We talk about secession. We've been talking about secession since we joined the union. Texas has been talking about secession since we joined the union.
Correct.
We literally have.
But it's closer to being something that could actually, if not a complete reality, it could be a vote that's so close. You know, there's there's absolute very legitimate divide in this country about who's running it and who belongs running it.
I mean, okay, I'll get with you on that. I don't know about secession. Or sedition.
I mean, I think all 50 states should succeed.
I don't know what a union of states would be. Maybe it's just a coalition within the Australia. Wow, what's up from Australia? What's up, Australia?
Hey, you can see the comments, huh?
Yeah,
good. I'm glad.
Nice. Cool. Aussies, boy, awesome.
Nice.
So, the Australians got. Y'all have a UBI over there? Y'all have a UBI, Australia? I know y'all got healthcare.
Australia's wild. They were going door to door arresting people for social media tweets.
They're great. Australians are whack, man. It's true.
Oh man, they had a gun ban recently, like just a few years ago.
I mean, I heard about the most famous one. Where was that where they had a mass shooting and then they took all the
New Zealand. That was just a year or two ago.
Okay. So you're not for that, right? I guess not for that.
Yeah. No.
I don't really give a shit about guns.
We got everything.
I got way more problems than that.
We got everything. Okay.
The people responsible gun owners. I got way more problems. Okay, that's not the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the list for me. Okay. The top of the list for me is Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. That's the top of the list. They're traitors.
Well, we're definitely getting a lesson in how our branches of government work. I've known them for a long time. Like Congress does this all the time. They will create a completely artificial crisis like this COVID thing, so that you create an unassailable need to do something in the government. So yeah, we're going to give you $600, reinstate the unemployment.
What does that even mean? $600? How does it buy Louis Vuitton?
They're doing something. $900 billion, fine, but they attach $1.2 trillion of fucking pork, like not even pork, like the fattest part of the fucking pork, onto it and say all or nothing, 5,000 fucking pages, and send it and say we're voting on this in 2 hours. It's Nancy Pelosi.
That was
we have to pass it so then we can read it later. It's like
that was literally like every congressman was like, "Hey, we got this idea. It's the end of the year. We're gonna put together this major bill. Just write whatever the hell you want, throw it in there. We'll all vote yes. It'll be great."
Some didn't, like Tulsi Gabbard, Rand Paul. If you were like, "This is bullshit,"
yeah, but they're Russian assets, bro. You can't trust those.
Well, that's what happens, right? if you're not part of the establishment, you're part of Trump, Tulsi, Rand. Bernie was called a Russian asset, although he did visit the Soviet. He loved the Soviet Union.
Dude, you know what sucked about Bernie is that he was like, "Hey, you guys, hey, I don't care if Putin wants me to win. I'm still like." He literally played into the propaganda. Like Bernie is so disappointing. He has a good heart. He was fighting for us, but like the whole Russia thing was a lie. You can tell because of the Steele dossier.
Absolutely.
Has anybody seen the P tape? Anybody?
I know.
Is that an R. Kelly thing?
Hey, your Aussie says we're fighting over $2,000 in a check. They've been getting $600-800 a week since the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, they have. They've been taken care of. Every other country has been taken care of. I mean, not probably the way you like it.
There's a lot fewer people in those countries than in America. America's got like 10 times the people of like Canada and Australia. So it's a little harder. It's a little bit harder thing. You got to come up with a lot freaking more money for all Americans.
I mean, when we're paying for $740 billion in our military. Guess what? We literally passed that first. After haggling over $600 checks for how many months? You know how embarrassing that is? It's embarrassing.
That was your lead up, right? The military bill.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Trump's first veto override.
Yeah.
So that's why you know if there's
that's what they want anyway, no matter what.
It shows that Trump is definitely not part of the establishment. That just did it.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that for the longest time. Danny, what do you think about Trump? You never really talk about him. Stop property taxes and get off my land.
I don't have much to say about him. I mean, I think you know, with him and even Pelosi and Sanders and everybody else, it's all the same thing. We as people are expecting the government to solve all our problems, and of course we listen to the politicians when they come around and like give us some bullshit. And the reality is, we shouldn't ask any of them to solve any of these problems. We should, you know, if anything, maybe look to them for advice or information or something. But they shouldn't be solving our problems, because for one, most of the problems they're faced with.
I'm gonna give Daniel a spiel real quick. We're gonna go. Daniel, why? Tell us. Give us the spiel. Tell my people about the libertarian principles. Go for it, bro. Why should we not trust these guys, and why should we trust the Libertarian Party? Go for it.
Oh man. Well, first I would say, I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. Don't trust the Libertarian Party. Don't trust anybody. Anything you hear, even if it's from me, go do your own research, go learn about these things and see how they work, learn a little bit about history. But ultimately, this is the thing. Don't trust politicians to solve your problems, because ultimately they don't care about you. They've never met you. They'll never shake your hand. Try going to your representative's office and see if you can get a meeting with them. It's not going to happen. But I bet you the guy who lives down the street, who owns a multi-billion-dollar corporation, walks in there and he can get a meeting whenever he wants. So we have to stop looking to these people. Ultimately, we have to understand that the bigger the government is, the more problems that they're going to create. And we need to start learning to solve our problems on our own. That doesn't mean like, you know, yeah, I get it. There's big problems that we can't solve on our own, but there are other ways for us to solve it. You can get together, you can have meetings, you can organize and create groups to solve problems. But the minute you point a gun at somebody else and think that forcing them to do something is going to solve the problem, a la higher wages, UBIs, you know, all these other things, stealing property and giving to somebody else. The minute you start doing that, that's when your society starts to collapse. And you know, one of the things that we have to realize and we have to look back on is the fact that the reason we even got into a position where people wanted to start pointing guns at each other just to get a little bit of freedom back is because of the government and what it's done over the past century to take our freedom away and make it so difficult for us to live. How's that?
I think that was brilliant. Brilliant. What'd you think, Doc Burgess? I give it an 8. Not like Rosie. She's a 10. She's a dog. Actually, Rosie's a dog, right? I give it an 8.
It was unscripted, so I'll settle for that.
Look, you're good, and I would vote for you. Except I was just kind of worried about the fact that, like, so you do get that the government will never leave us alone. That's what y'all get. That they'll never leave us alone.
Well,
So
it'll leave us alone when we stop giving it the authority.
Adapt to that. We have to adapt to that. What
I mean, like, you gotta, like, you know, picture you got like a really annoying friend, right? And they keep calling you, and you keep picking up the phone, and they keep talking, and you're like, man, I wish this guy would stop talking. Stop picking up the phone, right? But when you keep picking up the phone and let them keep running their mouth, you're going to keep hearing them, and they're still going to keep wasting your time. That's exactly what government is. We have to stop picking up the phone. We have to stop telling them, hey, yeah, we want you to solve this problem. We want you to use force. We want you to tell me how to live my life. But that's the thing. That change ultimately has to come from us. And I've said this throughout my presidential campaign, and I still say it. Yeah, I'm running for an office, but ultimately, if I win, doesn't really make a difference, because if they assassinate me and replace me with somebody else, you're just going to have another tyrant. And if everybody's like looking to me to solve all their problems, they're just going to be looking to the next guy to solve all their problems too. And we have to realize that's not the way these things should work. The government should not be so big in telling us how to live our lives.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm 55 years old. I've been saying that since I made my first paycheck and saw the building, dude.
But who's going to build the roads?
40 years. Yeah,
Aussie likes you, but also you guys are getting paid $600 a month.
Roads in Chicago.
If this guy gets into office, he's not going to give you $600 a month. Just or
I'm not taking a penny.
We should make the money ourselves, dude.
I'm not saying you're going to be corrupt. I'm just saying you're not going to
make a lot more than $600 a month.
You're not going to give healthcare
if you care to. Look at, man, no government. There are no government road workers. you understand what I'm saying? Like, there are no government road workers. Those are private companies that build the roads paid for by the government.
Yeah, 35 is still not done.
We could
build hourly. I guess they're hourly.
At it. We could definitely have roads built without taxes and without government. That's a bunch of people. Oh, whoa, who would build the roads if there were no taxes? I'm like, we would build the roads. The Romans built the fucking greatest roads ever created. You know what I'm saying?
You're still there.
They're still
they don't have potholes in them.
The roads would be a lot better if the government wasn't involved in it and wasn't a revenue stream like the so-called toll road that was supposed to be not a toll road in 1972. It's still a fucking toll road 50 years later here in Illinois. They know it's a revenue stream for them. It's a big freaking scam.
But this isn't
yellow.
This is another interesting thing too. I think I heard something about healthcare and like because this is a big thing, right? Healthcare is super expensive. How are we going to pay for this without government? I don't see any possible way. There's no way. I don't make anywhere near enough money to pay for my insulin or anything else. Well, here's the thing. The reason insulin is so expensive is because of the government. You can literally go across the border from the United States to Mexico and buy the same amount of insulin that you spend $100 in the US is $12 in Mexico. It's manufactured by the same people.
Yeah,
so
but it's fucking cut with cocaine and methamphetamines, though, isn't it?
No. This is the stuff that's manufactured in the United States and exported to Mexico. They just know they can't get $100 for it down there.
He's right. I'm telling
you,
it's
illegal.
Look,
it's illegal to buy a huge case of it and export it back to the United States and sell it for $12.
I mean, yeah, that's drug trafficking.
Trump tried to fix that,
but they're bringing drugs. They're rapists.
I'm 55. I'm old enough to remember having a family doctor in a little strip mall, and my mom would take us there for regular visits, shots for school, shit like that. She paid that woman with a check. Mm-hmm. The only thing insurance was for back then was for like when I broke my arm and went to the hospital. When you had insurance was for the things that it should be insurable. Insurance is a racket anyways, but I mean, yeah, there's big expenses.
When it's for catastrophes or unexpected.
This is a theme through this whole thing. When the government, when the government or a corporation subsidizes something, the price goes up. He talked about housing. That's what happened to housing. When you subsidize something, the price goes astronomical. If we had to get insurance for an oil change, if car insurance worked the way health insurance did, oil changes would probably be like $400 because it's not part
because they know they're going to charge the insurance company. They're going to be forced to pay it. But this is what's interesting too, because like a lot of people will look back and say, oh yeah, but the the subsidies are only there because the price was already high.
No,
but that was because of the monopolies that the government have created. I mean, like you've got certificate of need where some investors come along and they're like, hey, we want to build a new hospital right here. And the government tells them, well, you've got to convince us that we really need one before we'll allow you to build a new hospital. And all of that reduces the amount of resources that we have, which just, supply and demand jacks the prices up, which is exactly what happened. There's 47 companies in the entire world that manufacture insulin, and only 3 of them are allowed to sell it in the United States. Not because it's of some lower quality, but because the companies want to keep their monopoly and keep their prices up.
I've said that for the longest time. The government is the biggest monopoly that there is. Talk about corporations.
And when they don't sell the product, they just partner with somebody else and create their monopoly and protect it for them.
False scarcity. What are corporate, what they call corporate welfare or farm subsidies? That's an artificial raising so that those or bailing out the banks. So it's an artificial bump to those corporations so that they don't bottom out or whatever. So you get like a false scarcity, which keeps the prices.
Meanwhile, all those farms are being stolen away from the family farmers and given to big corporations because of property tax.
They have to foreclose, correct?
And inheritance tax and a bunch of other stuff.
And I'll tell you, it's much easier to take a house for non-payment of property taxes than for foreclosure. Foreclosure takes a long time. If you're in trouble with your bank, it could take a year. It took me 4 years to lose my house to foreclosure. But property taxes, it could be gone almost immediately. You'll lose it very quick.
Yeah. That's one of the things I'm pushing for in my campaign for governor is nobody should ever be dragged out of their house for back taxes.
So this is interesting. So you're running for governor?
Governor of Texas, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you knew it. I thought that's why you asked me to be on the show.
No, bro. I just think you're an interesting guy. You wear yellow hats. You're the man in the yellow hat, bro. That's how I know you.
Yellow hat, man.
And I'm glad. What happened with the libertarian race? What happened with Joe Jorgensen?
I've tried to be a libertarian. What happened? What's up?
They went with Joe Jorgensen and Vermin Supreme's vice president Spike Cohen got the VP nomination. And then it just kind of fizzled out. They didn't really make a lot of noise as a campaign, unfortunately.
She was interesting for the first time. Like she seemed like a serious candidate. The Libertarian Party's put up like clowns for the most part.
Was she on the ballot?
Pretty serious.
Yeah, she was on all 50.
She was on my ballot.
You were in the debates, right? You were in the debates.
Yeah, I was in the debates.
How was that collectively? They chose.
It was pretty good. I started when, like, the middle of 2019 maybe, and along with a couple other guys, and we started having debates. The Libertarian Party itself refused to like air them at all, and they said, oh, because of production quality, we want like a big stage and everything has to look nice because we want to look great. And but they didn't want to put any money up for that. I mean, they said they didn't have it, which may or may not be true. But so this whole debate thing was kind of going ignored. But I was there with a couple other guys, Arvin Vora, Adam Kokesh, Vermin Supreme got in at some point, and we were all there like very early campaigning. And my campaign specifically was going outside of the Libertarian Party because I was like, fuck the echo chamber, right? We need to introduce these ideas to new people. And ultimately, people started showing up further and further and further, and these were like the more I would say less radical libertarians. Most of them were really great people. There were only a couple people who I was like, this guy's a fucking statist, get him out of here.
A statist, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, they had this guy Lincoln Chafee, who nice guy.
I know Lincoln Chafee. I know that
he
guy.
voted for when he was. I think he was in Congress, and he voted for the Patriot Act.
Yeah, he's a scared little bitch.
Yeah, so
he ran for the Democrats.
Real nice guy.
He ran for the Democratic Party back against Hillary.
Yeah, he flipped every party. Like
that guy is hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah, and then they were trying to recruit Justin Amash to jump in at the very last minute, and it's like, guys, and what pissed me off about this whole thing is right after the election was over and we lost, of course, everybody's like, yeah, whoever's going to be running should start running their campaign now. And I'm like, you guys totally ignored everybody who was running a year and a half ahead of the election. So why would anybody want to run now?
People think name recognition. I think that's why they think that. You have to get off of this stuff. This is sparkly little object in front of you stuff. That's what's killing our country, I feel like. Every single sparkly little object that fucking appears, we just fucking go after. It's so annoying, bro. It really is.
And that's the thing. You have to turn liberty into that sparkly little object. To at least get people interested. And you can teach them the foundational reasons later, so that they're not just like blindly following it, but they're understanding of the reality of the world that we live in. But you still got to get their attention with something sparkly, I think. And I think that's where most of the Libertarian Party has failed, because they're known as, the rich white guys who don't care about the poor, and, oh yeah, let them starve. Oh, you can't afford healthcare, go die. That's the mentality that they think we have.
And decrease the surplus population.
Yeah. It's I think that's not necessarily the case. The problem is that those libertarians just aren't really thinking with their head, problem solving, because ultimately, like, that's the thing. People have problems and they're looking for someone to help them solve their problems. And if we can't be the people that are going to say, hey, we can help, we can show you how to solve your problems without government, if nobody's giving that message, then they're just going to say, well, the government's offering to solve my problems, why don't I just let them?
Right.
That's true.
Right.
I mean, that's true. I can't argue with that. So where we go from here is we go to Nancy Pelosi's house. We kill some more pigs and vandalize her second home. I got you. That's the plan. Guys. I'm just kidding, guys. So y'all feel bad? Y'all feel bad for Nancy?
No.
Her poor home. I don't either.
No.
She's very likely on the way out.
No, she's not, bro. You don't understand the Democratic Party. Like I do. They're cucks times 1,000.
It might not be up.
They will literally keep her on until she's fucking in jail and handcuffs. They'll keep her after that, probably. Literally.
So
yeah, I mean, that party is so corrupt. I mean, that's just like,
they're cucks times 1,000, bro.
She's like the ringleader of the mafia.
They lined up behind Joe Biden. They lined up behind a fucking dementia-riddled old man with a crime bill that incarcerated half the country. So they'll do anything, bro, just to get Trump out. I promise you. They're fucking crazy. They're insane. But anyway, Daniel Berman, taxation is theft. You're still Daniel, quote, taxation is theft, end quote, Berman, correct?
I stopped using quotes because it's no longer a quote. It's my middle name. I don't need quotes.
Did you petition the government for that middle name, sir?
No, free men don't ask for permission.
I love
I
you.
just changed it.
This is
mine, not theirs.
See, this is what I'm talking about. On Tommy Nation Politics, living your principles and values, like us. Okay. So
what's that address again?
Address?
Yeah, Daniel.
danforfreedom.com.
danforfreedom.com. I like it.
I want to stay in touch with you, man.
I think we should all stay in touch, guys. Daniel, come back to the show anytime, bro. You don't need an invitation. Just let me know when you want to come on. And
sounds good.
I know you're doing a podcast too. Are you doing a podcast?
Yeah, taxation is theft. Find it wherever you find just search for taxation is
Spotify?
theft.
Spotify?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And taxationistheft.info is the website for that, and we've got all kinds of cool swag and stuff over there too.
Well, Daniel,
like these awesome hats.
I've seen that.
What is it? Let me see it again. Let me see it. Look at that schnocks, bro. Y'all's colors don't even match. How libertarian. Okay. All right, Daniel. I love you guys.
All right, take care, man.
Awesome.
Take care, bro.
Boy, someone like far past me. This is great.
Huh?
Someone who's pretty far past me.
Oh yeah, you know what? I try to have everyone on my show. I really don't care your ideas or perspectives because none of us are corporate puppets that want to funnel the wealth of 1%. That's it.
Correct.
That's all they want to do. So I mean, listen, funny. We have different like priorities and stuff and expectations. But we're still like Americans.
I love
we care about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We got to keep the Aussie guy on the watermelons. We need him back.
The who?
Awesome. The Aussie guy. He's awesome.
Oh,
called him the yellow hat brim guy. That's awesome.
I'm glad you're paying attention to the chat. I stopped.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. What do you think of his principles? Like they're pretty radical from where you are on stuff. Like,
I mean, I'm a cynical guy. Okay. And the government's not going to stop. They're not going to give you your property taxes. So what now? What then? I want to go to the next move. And I feel like the next move is, I mean, how are we going to get these things? Okay. And by the way, if I didn't pay taxes or whatever, I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't end up the same way. I'm just going to put that out there. I feel like he's got some great principles, but I just feel like there's a certain minority in the country, certain minorities that can't abide by those, or they would get fucking policed.
Maybe, who knows? I don't know. If Wesley Snipes could get away with it, maybe you can too.
I mean, the Black Panthers. Remember the Black Panthers?
Yeah, I remember.
When they wanted to, yeah, they are still around. But guess what? When they wanted to have guns, guess what happened? Gun laws.
Oh well.
So that's what happens, bro. When minorities do stuff like libertarians.
Thomas, what I'm curious about is like we know the government. I said from the dude down the street on my city council right up to the freaking Senate are corrupt as hell. Why on earth would we give them more power with our money over what we decide about things like healthcare, about things like property? Why would we? I mean, you're saying it's inevitable. You sound like the guy who said, "Well, I mean,
it is. We can't go back. We're too far gone. We can't go back."
You sound like the guy you chastised for saying, "Yeah, we can't have a third party because we're just going to be Republican and Democrat." Like,
see, that's a different problem.
We have the power to enact this stuff.
Okay.
Why do you even do this channel?
Let me think of this. I'm absorbing your point.
Okay. Good. Let it. I'll put it to some music.
Put it to some music, bro.
Whatever. What am I doing?
You know what's funny is you did the Old Lang Syne. I did Old Lang Syne for New Year's. Is there another New Year's Eve song? There's not, right?
Not one as good as that one. No.
I mean, yeah. So, but basically, all I have to say.
In the wind, we're just dust in the wind.
Dust in the wind.
We are as dust in the wind.
Make sure I don't get any copyright infringement, okay? I don't want a copyright claim for myself.
That might be one.
I did not. Who played it?
Kansas.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy.
All right.
So, basically, what did you think of his points? What did you think of his points? You like him? I
dig the dude. He's if there's anything substantial to the libertarian like point of view, and if there's a part of it that's like him, I'm all for that, because I can tell you, I don't think I'm a libertarian, but I agree with a lot of what he says, or that's kind of where I go with stuff. I'm pretty sure that I'm sort of past being a libertarian. I'm pretty much closer to being what you might call like almost like anarcho-capitalist. Where I don't think government is of any help to us whatsoever. I think government is just like legitimized mob as far as I am concerned, and nothing I've seen about it from my local Chicago government to my local like municipal government to the federal government to certainly the Illinois state government, nothing has shown me that that is not true. It is just
I mean, in Illinois,
racket. They what they do with corporations, you know, they threaten them with regulations and all this shit so that their money goes into the coffers to protect them from the regulations so that they can, you know, write themselves out of it. The tax code works like that too. It's a big freaking mob protection racket. That's all government is. He is right that the more you keep believing that government is there to help you, the more you are part of the freaking problem in this country, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, I just think we need a government that works for all of us and not the few.
Well, good luck with that.
I mean,
if you were doing it, Thomas, I might say, if he was doing it and you were doing it, I might be like, maybe we got a shot. Fair-minded people.
Eventually, I just have to learn how to lie and carry people's hopes and dreams in my pockets. But I don't think I can do that. So.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. I love you, man. Don't be that dude.
I won't. I could never. That's not my personality.
I know.
I can't do it. So, but thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming on Tommy Nation Politics Talk. You have an open invitation anytime you want. So, guys, always remember to be free thinking, innovative, and open-minded, no matter what you want to do. Libertarian.
Happy New Year, people.
Happy New Year, guys. Hey, let's revolt. Revolution.
Yay.